Let me guess. You're trying to figure out a way to save more money. It could be for a house, could be for a car, it could be for the fact that every time you look at your savings account, you have no idea what the hell's in there. I get it. I'm here for you. I'm debt-free Joel, and my channel is dedicated to one thing and one thing only, to get you out of debt and to hopefully build financial wealth. We do it through three ways over here. We do it through saving, we do it through investing, and most importantly, we do it through charity. So here's 7 tips that I'm going to give you to help figure out how to save more. And stay tuned towards the end. I'll give you an 8th bonus tip that I'm not a big fan of, but hey, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. Stay tuned. So you're looking how to save and you're trying to figure out what the best way to do it is. Here's rule number 1. The first thing you need to do is create a budget. I know, the dreaded budget, the thing that puts shackles on your arm that you can't figure out how to live your life and spend your money. YOLO! But at the end of the day, the budget is really here for you to specifically ensure that you're spending your money the right way. You see, a budget identifies where your money's going. So how are you going to be able to save if you don't know where your money is? Chances are you don't have a budget. So that's rule number 1. Create one. Now there's a ton of budgets online. You could just simply go to Google, literally. Go to Google, type in how to create a budget, and there's a bunch of videos on how to do it. In fact, they have templates out there that do it for you. But at the end of the day, create a budget so you can figure out where your money is going. I don't care if you're single. I don't care if you're married. You need to get on a budget. And if you have a significant other in your life, they need to be on a budget too. Because guess what? You can't save if they're out there spending all their money. So you need to get on a budget as soon as possible. And you need to figure out where your money is going. Now, here's an example. I live in New York. We've been under COVID restrictions for, I don't know at this point, but let's say about a year, okay? Most people haven't taken the subway in about a year. And those of you who have lived in New York and you know how much a subway item costs, that Metro card is like what, $100, $120 something a month? Well, it's been 12 months. How much should you have saved in 12 months? You should have about $1,200. You see, that's the thing. If it's $100 a month and you've been under lockdown for 12 months, you should have an extra $1,200 saved. So ask yourself, where did this money go? That's where a budget kicks in. Chances are you've been spending that money not realizing where it's going. Get on a budget. That's the first thing you need to do to figure out how to save. That's the first tip I have for you. Get on a budget. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And that brings me to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is actually straightforward. You just did your budget. Now it's time to go through everything, all the needs and all the wants. I guarantee you this tip is going to piss you off. It's supposed to. You see, the thing is you have to go through every line item in your budget and figure out what is a need and what is a want. Remember, the whole point of this video, the whole point of you clicking on this video is to figure out how to save money. So tip number 2 is to go through your needs and wants. You keep the needs, you get rid of the wants. Now, you have to be honest with yourself. Do you really need 2 gym memberships? I've seen it. Do you really need Netflix? Do you really need Amazon Prime? Do you need all these things that are hitting your credit card account every month and taking money away from you? Those are the wants. So you need to figure out how to reduce or eliminate all your wants. You may not need a full plan or whatever you're subscribing to. Maybe you can do half of it. Whatever the case may be, you need to go through your budget. You need to figure out your needs and your wants. And the things that are the wants, you may have to temporarily put on hold. You may have to temporarily eliminate. Remember, you're watching this video right now because you need to figure out how to save. Something catastrophic is going on in your account right now. It's time to put on your big boy pants or big girl pants. At the end of the day, you need to eliminate every single one of those wants or at least reduce them so that you can have more cash coming in. The minute you can start to control your expenses and control your liabilities, fine, go right back to them. But for now, start to eliminate all the wants. Just because you want something now doesn't mean you can't have it later. Stay strong. And that brings me to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is actually pretty straightforward. Use cash and stop using your credit card. I know, it seems pretty simple, but who the hell still uses cash? This guy does. And I'll tell you why I do. There's a bunch of studies that actually have shown that you actually overspend when you use your credit card and then when you use cash. I want you to think about this logically before I actually talk about the study. When you swipe your credit card, you don't feel pain, right? You just swipe the card, you sign a name and you keep it moving. But when you use cash, you actually see either your wallet or your purse or whatever decrease. It actually starts to hurt. You see, McDonald's did a study years ago where they were able to study their patrons that walked into the restaurant. What they noticed is that people who swiped their credit cards paid upwards of almost 50% more when they used their credit card than versus when they used cash. The next time you go out to do anything, use cash. You're a lot more likely not to spend the way you want. The next time you have to go buy something, use cash. Now, where we are in this life now, everything is online, right? You're watching this on YouTube. Chances are you're going to go to Amazon or Walmart or Target or buy something online, for example. Here's a trick that you can use. When you do your budget, when you've gone through your needs and your wants, you should hopefully have some cash left over so that you can just be sane, right? This is what I call your spending money. Your allowance, for example. So when you buy something online, make sure whatever you buy online comes out from that cash bucket. So let's say, for example, you went to Amazon, you had to go buy a baking sheet or something. You paid $20 for it. Well, you take $20 out of your cash and you move it to the side. That $20 is now allocated towards that expense that you had online. That's the way to do it. But remember, this tip is actually straightforward. Stop using your credit card and start using cash. Now, I know what you're thinking. You have credit cards, for example, that give you cash back. Oh, Joel, what about my credit score? I don't care. You're watching this video because you need to save money and you need to save money now. The credit score and all that will come. The points on your card will come. But for now, stop using the credit card. Start using cash so you can build your savings. You can go back to the credit card when you need to, but for now, stop because chances are you're overpaying. So tip number 4, here's what I want you to do. Look to your left, look to your right. How much crap do you have around you that you can get rid of? That's right. Tip number 4, sell a bunch of crap in your house that you don't need that you've acquired over the years. Listen, we've had gifts from people from our jobs, gifts from people from Christmas, things that we bought that we thought were a great idea and we don't need them no more. Get rid of them. I absolutely love eBay, especially when I used to use it when I was younger. Just sell them. Get rid of all that stuff. If I was to walk into your garage right now and see all the crap that you have in there, you can get rid of all of them and chances are you can raise a lot of cash very quickly. Think about it. Look around. Seriously. All the things that you bought your kids over the years, all the things that you bought your husband, all the things that you bought your wife, all the things you bought yourself. At the end of the day, if you don't need them, if you barely want them, if you're just holding on to them because maybe I'm going to have to use it in the future, kick it to the curb. That's the easiest way to raise cash. Put them on eBay and get rid of them. Trust me, you'll thank me later. So tip number 5, try to figure out a way to reduce your interest rates. This is where it gets a little bit more technical, but follow along. Chances are you have some sort of debt, which if you've been following any of my videos, you know I don't like debt. But there is a way that you can get around it. You see, at least in the United States, you should be able to call your credit card company and say, hey, I'm trying to figure out a way to get out of debt. Is there a way you can work with me to reduce the interest rate? Or let's say if you have a private loan, right, a private student loan, where, for example, the government isn't able to furlough it, but you should be able to call your private student loan company and say, hey, is there a way you can either A, pause my payment, or 2, reduce my interest rate during this time? What about if you have a mortgage? Chances are you've been seeing such low rates in the mortgage rates recently that you want to figure out a way to refinance your house. Either way, figure out how to reduce the rates that contribute to your debt. Now, I know this is where it gets a little bit more technical. You may be declined. They may laugh you off the phone. Who cares? All it takes is 1 or 2 of those to make a significant amount on the amount you can save every month. So remember, if you have debt, which sucks, figure out a way to reduce your interest rate. Therefore, you can keep more money every month and save more. Tip number 6. Actually, this one puts a smile on my face because chances are this is the first thing you thought of when you said you need to save money. I need more money. That's right. You need to figure out a way to increase your income. Now, if you're an hourly employee, you already know what you need to do. You need to work probably overtime to see if you can significantly increase your savings. But what about if you're a salaried employee? The first one is maybe you can negotiate a higher salary. That may or may not work. But the second thing you can do is figure out a side hustle. In my opinion, we all have gifts and talents, so figure out what you can do to monetize that gift and talent. Maybe you're good at selling sneakers online. Maybe you know how to cut hair. Whatever the case is, figure out your side hustle. If that doesn't work, you may need to pick up a second job. Maybe it's something that, pays you $15 an hour. Who cares? You work a couple months like that, you can accumulate thousands of dollars and then you can quit. But there's no such thing as a job that's beneath you. At the end of the day, like I mentioned before in the other clips, you're watching this video specifically because you want to learn how to save. So put your pride aside. If you need a second job, so be it. If you have to work overtime, so be it. If you have to negotiate your salary, so be it. You got to create a hustle, you already know what to do. Do what you need to do to increase your income. At the end of the day, that's an easy way to save. Tip number 7. It's the easiest thing to do. Automate your savings. Chances are you have a problem saving money. That's why you're watching this video. That's why you've been seeing me blow a bunch of hot air at this point. But at the end of the day, automate your savings. Think about it. You have already done your budget. You've went through your needs and your wants. You figured out a way to increase your income. Now you have all this cash in your savings and your checking account. What are you supposed to do? Automate your savings. Move the money from your checking to your savings every month based on a percentage. My advice, use 10%. Why? It's an easy number to remember. But automate it. Me personally, I like to move my own money. I like to move money from checking to savings. I don't know why. I'm weird like that. Sue me. But at the end of the day, chances are you don't like to do that. You want something to be done automatic for you. So automate your savings. That's the easiest way, literally, out of all the tips I've given you, that's the easiest thing to do in terms of saving money. Automate it so that in such a way you don't even have to think about it. You just see the money leave and you go about your business. Automate your savings. You will thank yourself later. So here's the bonus tip. If you have a 401k, if you have a retirement plan, chances are you're contributing to it. What you could do temporarily is turn off the valve as it pertains to your retirement account, right? Maybe you decrease the allocation to 0. So let's say, for example, you make $4,000 a month after taxes. And if you don't contribute to your 401k, you make $4,400. You can take the extra $400 and throw that into your savings. Now you got to be careful here on 2 different fronts. The first front is that once you increase your income, you're likely going to increase your expenses and you're not going to be able to save nothing. So you have to be extremely disciplined with this. And the second is that it's going to feel good to have some extra money coming in and you don't have to hustle, right? Because all you did was just basically turn an allocation from 5% to 0. But you got to remember that you're robbing yourself of your future money. Here's something that I want everybody here to understand. You're more likely to become a millionaire in this country through your 401k than anything else. In fact, if you study the millionaires in this country, almost 80% of them are millionaires because of their 401k. So every single month that you're not contributing to it, you're robbing yourself of future income. I'm not a fan of this method. That's why I saved it at the end. But at the end of the day, if you really need money and you have a 401k, maybe you put the allocation to 0 for maybe 3-4 months and then you turn it back on. Remember, you're robbing yourself of your future self. So you want to make sure that when you take the money now, you're actually saving it. Don't mess this up. So there you have it. Those are 7 ways that you can save plus a bonus tip. If you have any additional comments or questions, feel free to put them in the comment box. I'm sure there's a ton of ways that you can save money if there's things that you realize or things that I haven't said. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Also, don't forget that I'm also on Instagram at DebtFreeJoel. It's the same handle as YouTube. I put a ton of information on there on how to become debt-free, how to build wealth, how to invest, everything under the sun. So feel free to check me out there. And as always, just remember that a part of all that you earn is yours to keep. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you next time.